Hi, I'm Arlexis Brown, the Communications Manager with Justice for Southwest Georgia, and today I'm talking with Ms. Diana Brown and Mr. Steve Gossair about their deep canvassing work in Southwest Georgia. Ms. Brown, Mr. Gossair, thank you for taking the time to talk about your deep canvassing work. I hear your amazing team shares experiences of love and listens to voters' stories to build an emotional bond. You don't hurry, but y'all connect over shared concerns and feelings. Tell me, what's deep canvassing like?
It involves developing a relationship with the potential voter, the person you're speaking with. If you can interact with them and get an understanding and a feel for who they are, and they also get a feel for who you are.
And yes, indeed, campers to me, it like get that relationship with the voters and making them more comfortable with you and trusting you and listen to them and not listen to you, just hearing their stories and their concern and they tell their stories and what they want to do and relate it to coming out to vote and build that base with them to be able to be comfortable and voting in an election as well as this election and have that warmness and that trust is the most important thing with decampusing.
So most campaigns, they go after the same loyal voters every time. But what canvassers or what demographic are you all canvassing?
Targeting the ones who haven't voted in the last elections. And also, that's the target market. And we want to get them back out to the polls.
These are voters that been voted, but they had not voted for years, and but they still is active in the. They still are active voters, and so when you come out in that community and know what it looked like because they already know how to vote, but they just need that love to show them the way to the ballot box.
So with that being said, how do you think that deep canvassing transforms voters that have been um, infrequent or apathetic about voting in the past?
You're going to make them get some emotions about it. You're going to it lights a fire up under them, motivation. If you can get to that point, you can get to their motivation, what turns them on, their feelings. If you can reach that, there's a good chance you can get them to sway them. And it's not something that's going to happen instantaneously. It might take some time. You tell your story and you listen and you listen and you echo some more and you get a relationship with
them. Me, when it comes to that, it's about me telling my story. And when I tell my story, and it's just, give them the name of the person that I'm talking about, and at that moment, and give them that moment, make them feel that moment when you're telling the story, and then you get into a conversation. And then after you tell your story, then they begin to say, oh, yeah, I got a story to tell too. You got a story and I got a story. And then that's when you just embrace yourself and just listen to the story. And then they begin to have an open line of communication with you. And after that open line of communication, it brings on the love that you're showing them. And then, you're telling them, oh, that's wonderful. That's awesome. I love it. And, I'm just a part of it. And then you begin to talk about voting. And then once you begin to talk about the voting, and then some of the story they tell, then they come up and say, I haven't voted in years, but I'm on it. I'm on board. And then they begin to get on board because you sitting here listening, showing them the love and the grace that they need at that moment.
Truly amazing. Can you all tell me about a conversation that you had with a canvasser while you were deep canvassing?
She was about 25 at the most. So when I began to tell her my story about my brother with colon cancer and how it was and what the procedure and how he loved me and I loved him and all the things that he was going through and he was fighting for his life, but unfortunately he did not make it over the course of years. And I was just talking to her and telling my story. And then she would say, oh, you got a story? I got one too.
Mhm.
And then I began to listen to her story. She said, I lost my mom. My mom passed. And then she said, what broke the heart of it, she said, my 10-year-old son was diagnosed with cancer. And he's in remission. And I have to travel up and down the road from Atlanta back and forward. And it's costless. And then she said she don't know what type of resources and where resources at. And she was just so beautiful. Her personality was beautiful. She had a high spirit, even though she was going through that with her 10-year-old son. And then from there, and she said, I just want to re-register the vote because I don't know am I acting or not. So I tried to pull up the Georgia SOS. It kept spinning on it. We even do. I don't try to clear it. But luckily, we always take paper application with us. And we were able to register to vote. And I was able to go back and give her more resources that can help her in the long run when she's kind of struggling, going up and down the road. And she began to hug and she began to say, Lord, thank you. She just said she was just appalled and pleased with it.
Yeah, that's one I can relate to more. We were together when we did that one, and it was very memorable. The way she said, when we said we had a story, she just automatically said, "Oh, I got a story to tell." That was the most memorable part.
Yes, it was just beautiful.
And that is the great thing, is that everyone has a story to tell. And through this deep canvassing, you can share your stories, and also those voters that might have concerns, they can share theirs.
Yeah.
Is there anything else
Yeah.
that you all would like to add and share
Yeah,
to
and I
let
also
everyone know about deep canvassing?
yes, I also
It works.
It works. And Miss she's one of the disabled tenants. So she was able to tell us she had not been voting. And she said she didn't never know that she can vote from home. She said she was looking at the TV and cussing out the TV. And she was just cursing the TV out because she knew she couldn't vote and couldn't get there because she's paralyzed. And then I began to talk to her and minister to her about, you know, we have all type of tools that you can vote. And I asked her, well, who you love and who love you. And then she began to give me that conversation. Then she see that she was tearing up and tearing up and she wanted to cry. And she said, everybody knocked at my door asking me to vote. But ain't nobody came in my house and educated me like you and Steve done.
And that deep canvassing also helps you provide a tool to get the unregistered voter ready to vote. And the ones, the elderly ones, we can get them absentee ballots. And the time you develop with them, the more time you spend with them, the better your chances are to get them to participate in the electoral process.
That is amazing. I want you all to know that you're doing great work. You're connecting with infrequent voters, and you're making people that maybe don't feel seen and heard when you're sharing your stories and allowing them to share their stories. And we want you all to know that we love you and that we appreciate the work that you all are doing in Southwest Georgia. Thank you again for taking the time.
You're quite welcome, and thank you for having us.